guys that, really taught me how to bass fish, taught me how to win tournaments, taught me everything about pitching and flipping. And that was an angler named Terry Thomas. You guys have heard me talk about him before. He's, in my opinion, Terry Thomas, he won everything in my part of the country back when he was in his prime, back in the 90s and early 2000s. He understood what it took to catch bass and quality bass and to win tournaments better than anyone that I have ever been around. Anybody, bar none, period. I don't care if it's Van Dam or whoever. This Terry Thomas was the best bass fisherman in his prime I have ever been around. And I've been around a lot of good fishermen, guys. So anyway, practicing with Terry, here's the difference between a real fisherman like Terry Thomas versus a screen angler. We would go out and practice, and it's like the entire time we were practicing, Terry, his whole mentality was, what is it going to take to catch these big fish? What do these big fish want? How are these big fish positioning in the cover? Now, you got to remember, this was a long time ago. This was before any advanced technologies. I practiced with Terry in some buddy tournaments in the 80s. So this is way beyond that. So, but that was his foundation. It's like, what do the big fish want? So I remember one tournament, we were practicing at Bull Shoals Lake in Arkansas, and the water was super high. The water was like 20 foot above normal, flooded out everywhere. So right off the bat, and I'm just there to absorb information. I'm in my early 20s, and I want to learn from the master here. So I watch him break down the day. He started out with a variety of different jigs, different trailer setups, 30-pound test, high visibility strand line in that clear water of Bull Shoals, super high, flooded out. He started out, he would fish certain sizes of willow trees, do that for like an hour or so, and didn't do that good. I remember when we first started out, I caught one about 6 pounds out of the back of the boat, but hadn't had many bites. And these were willow trees that were like on isolated willow trees that were on a flat, that type of a thing. And then, we work back in further, and we fish some different type of bushes and different type of trees to try to experiment with different depth zones. And then we got out on the main lake, and there were some hardwoods out on the main lake, and we started flipping those hardwoods. And these hardwoods were like, I don't know, probably 30 foot deep, and Terry would flip his jig down these hardwoods and let it go all the way to the bottom, 30 foot down, and we caught a couple fish doing that. And then he'd go back and he'd start running like, debris mats or something like that that had blown up against the shore. Tried that a little bit. Nothing was really panning out.